Hello, everybody. I guess this is kind of a repeat of lesson one again. This time I'm going to be going over the code. Since the first time I did lesson one, it was kind of all jumbled up with the installation and the downloading, and also going over the code all kind of mixed up together in one really long video. So consider this, I guess, part 3 of lesson one. And in this lesson, I'll just be going over the code for that's the code that's created when you do a default. Let's see, what was it? A default console application in code blocks. So yeah, here we are in code blocks, and you can see this is the default code that is created when you create a console application. And let's see how easy is that to read. I don't know, is there a way I could probably change the font size to make it easier. Let's see here. Where's a way to, I'm sure there's a way to increase font size somewhere. I mean, I can see it just fine. I just worry that maybe some people are watching on lower resolution on YouTube, and maybe that they can't see that code very well. Let's see, editor, settings, editor. Oh well, we'll not worry about that right now. I don't know where to find somewhere to adjust the font size, so we'll just go over the code here. Let's see what we could actually do. I think if we open up a Word document, I'll just copy and paste the code in there. And then so yeah, that should be pretty easy to see. So yeah, although we lose the color coding, that, and let's change that to, there we go. So we do lose the color coding when we do it this way, but now you can see it a lot easier. So anyway, this first line, include IO stream. IO stands for input and output, and later we're going to learn about what's called a stream reader, and that's how you a stream reader is basically used in C++ for inputting and outputting data. And then this line of code using namespace std, std in this context stands for standard and not the other thing you're thinking of. And then we have our main function right here. We declare the main function with an integer variable type. We'll learn about variables in our next lesson. But in C++, we need to have main needs to be integer. And those of you who have learned C# in the past might know that in C# your main function is a void variable type. which means no variable, really. But in C++, main has to be an integer, unlike in C# where main is void. And in C++, since we have to return a value in our main function, that's what this line of code here is. It just returns 0 by default. And then this is our output to the console window. This is cout. So console, C stands for console, and then out just means output. And these two less than signs, those mean that we're putting whatever is to the right of this into our cout function. So right here we have this text which says hello world, and so we're putting that into the cout function, and that'll display in the console window. And then we've got two more of the less than signs, which means this is also going into the cout. And this right here, that's endl. The L stands for line, so this means end line. And we don't have to do this, but it does make it so that the next line that we output will appear on the basically it's end line is basically like pressing enter, so that the next time you output to the console window, the text will appear on the next line down instead of on the same line. If we got rid of this, then then the next line of text would appear immediately after hello world instead of on the next line down. And sometimes we want to do that. But for this, for now, we'll just leave it there. Oh, and this semicolon at the very end, that's basically the end of a line in C++. Some of you are used to programming in Python. Python does not have anything at the end of a line. You just stop typing. So, but basically it's like the equivalent of a period in regular English. So in regular English, a period lets you know when you've gotten to the end of a sentence. And in C++ programming, a semicolon is how you know you've gotten to the end of that particular line of code. And if you got rid of the semicolon, it's kind of like getting rid of a period at the end of a sentence. Yeah, like I said, if you're programming in Python, you don't need that. But we're not programming in Python; we're programming in C++. And so if we go back into our code blocks IDE here, and we run this, you can see, come on, okay, it's going. No, we don't want to save it. What's happening? Okay, let's see, there we go. All right, you can see here, this is our output window. This is the console window. You can see right there, it printed hello world. And we just press enter to close that and go back into our program. So we'll do some more lines of code to show you what I mean with the end line. We'll just say this is the second line. Okay, apparently I have to do this one first. And then, okay, there we go. Code blocks is so weird. I'm used to Visual Studio. So, hello world, this is the second line. As you can see here. So we just close that. And I'm going to replace hello world with this is the first line. Okay, here we go. Build and run, that's what I want. This is the first line, this is the second line. Now watch what happens if I get rid of the end line part of the first line. So I get rid of end line, and now watch what happens. See, this is the first line, this is the second line. They both appear on the first line when we get rid of that. So that's what endl does. Basically just pressing the equivalent of pressing enter so that it appears on the next line. Now there are actually a couple ways to do that. We don't necessarily have to include endl in a separate function like that. We can get rid of that, and we can do \n, and the n stands for new line. And as you can see here, it has the same effect as if we had the endl function. Now let's see. So I think that's probably all we need for this lesson. So I'm gonna make this is going to be a short lesson. I think that's all we need for now. But yeah, so that's basically the very basics of cout and the basics of a console application in code blocks. And that's all for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe.